Hi, friends. So today I want to remind you that you're worth more than an ox. That comes from Luke 14, and you remember the story. Jesus is in the home of some leading Pharisees, and they're watching him, carefully watching him, because it's the Sabbath. And we don't know if they're setting him up for this or what the deal is, but in walks a man who has dropsy, and it has severely affected his ability to function. And so the Pharisees are looking to see if Jesus is going to heal the man on the Sabbath. We're aware of the teachings of God through Moses about keeping and honoring the Sabbath. But the Pharisees had really stretched that a great deal to the point where you really couldn't just do anything on the Sabbath. I mean, you couldn't even lift up a suitcase or something like that. So they watch him. And Jesus knows that he's being observed. And what does he do? He engages this man. But before he does that, he says, is it lawful to cure on the Sabbath or not? And they're silent. The Pharisees will not give their response, not give an opinion. Well, then he has the man hold out his hand. He heals him and he sends him on the way. But then he says this to the Pharisees: who of you, if you had a son or an ox that fell into a cistern, would not immediately pull them out, even if it was on the Sabbath? And again, the question went unanswered. What's going on here? You got to remember this, that Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath. It was God who gave us the gift of the Sabbath. And that's just what it was meant to be, is a gift. A day, yes, to honor God and to worship him, but also a day in which we are to rest. What was God intending to do here, and what is Jesus trying to get at? The Sabbath rest is so that we can take at least a day out of the week to remember that we're not God. And I think that's why the worship and the rest go together. Because on that day that we rest from all of our labors throughout the week, we're saying not everything is dependent upon me. In fact, everything really, if we're honest, is dependent upon God. Our existence, the air we breathe, the plants we eat, the animals of the earth, the birds of the sky, the fish of the sea, our planet, everything is dependent upon God creating them and holding them into being, including you and I. And love itself is dependent upon God. Everything. But I don't know about you, but I can be susceptible to just going. And when I go all the time, I start to live as if the world rests upon my shoulders. I take upon myself all the responsibilities and expectations that I think I need to carry 24/7. And that can be exhausting for us, for you as a mom, as a dad, as a spouse, as a person who's trying to provide for your family, in any circumstances that you find yourself in. But it is a lie. It's a lie that everything is dependent upon us. And when we live like that, all manner of things can happen, like burnout and our ego and our pride getting the best of us, or resentment that others are not keeping up to our expectations, a host of diseases. And by that, I'm not just talking how going can literally affect us physically and mentally, but it puts us at dis-ease with ourselves, with other people, and with God. And so when God gave us the Sabbath, he gave us two gifts. Rest. Take a day to remember that the world depends upon me, God, not upon you. How sobering and how beautiful and how merciful that is. Because the one who presents the lie to us is merciless. He's a taskmaster. And if he can't get us to stop believing in God, then what he'll do is just keep us so busy that we don't live as if we believe in God, including being dependent upon God. And so he's merciless as a taskmaster, and all just to get us away from God. And on the day that God gave us the Sabbath, he not only said rest, but he said worship me. Worship me. Why? Because he needed it? No, because we need it. Because we need to remember that he's God and that we do need him. And the world needs him. And everybody that we're working for and all that we're doing needs him. And so the two go together. You're worth more than an ox, and Jesus says this. He heals on the Sabbath, even though he knows that the Pharisees, the religious leaders, are going to come after him. He heals this man because he sees it as good. This man who has dropsy, who's not able to function and care for himself, presents himself on the Sabbath. He's like, I'm going to heal this man on any day because it's the work of God. God is working on the Sabbath. God is healing on the Sabbath. And this is what we need to remember. When we rest, we let God work. When we worship, we let God work inside of us. And he heals us, and he restores us, and he brings us back to our sanity and to who we're supposed to be in relationship with him. And when Jesus then is criticized by the religious leaders for healing, he says, who of you would not on even the Sabbath go and rescue an ox or a son? You see, to you and I this day, an ox isn't worth much. But in Jesus' day, they were worth a great deal. They did a lot of work for them, like piling a field, or you could put a big load across their shoulders and carry it from the farm into town and so on. And Jesus is saying, I see that you value an ox, and you certainly value a son. And if they were in trouble on the Sabbath, you would rescue them. And here's the thing. God sees you as worth more than an ox. And he wants to rescue you. He wants to rescue me. So honor the gifts that he has given to you. Rest on that day. So he can rescue you and me and us from our delusions, from believing the lie that we have to go, and become so busy then that we fall into the trap of the enemy. If he can't get us not to believe in God and love God and follow God, then he can make us so busy that we stop doing that. And rest in worship of God. Because when we worship him, we remember he's God and we're not. Until next time, friends.